You just have to ask it nicer and yell at it. It's like, I'm not doing it.
Join us as we traverse through time and space.
And another episode of whatever this is.
I'm Batman.
There she goes. Never a dull moment around here. All right, here we are. This is Saragon Road. And we are at the historic Five Corners Cemetery in Williamstown, South Williamstown, Massachusetts. So there's some pretty neat old stones in here. And we're just gonna take a look. I'm gonna head over here where there's some very old ones in the shade. Hopefully you can see them. Can you hear that bird? Oh my goodness, it's having a fit. A big crow came, or raven. May have had one of their children. So I guess I'd have a fit too. Some raven came and scooped up my baby. All right. Well, here we go. This is a little shady back here, but let's see if you can check these out. This one in particular is quite interesting. I don't know if you can read it. I hope you can. I should have grabbed my flashlight. Anyway, this one is in memory of Hannah Woodcock, daughter of Wilhelmina, and departed this life June 24th, 1778, age 12 years old, 7 months and 27 days. Anyway, the carving is pretty interesting. I hope you can see it. It's very primitive. Anyway, very similar style in this one, except much larger. And this guy has a profile. And this is Barnabas Woodcock, who was born in September 1710 and then departed this life March the 14th, 1786, being 76, 5 months and 8 years old. And there he is. A pretty neat old stone. Anyway, a few more up in here. I don't trip over these downed tree pieces. Anyway, decked out for Memorial Day. We'll just fix that right up there. Revolutionary War veteran here, another Woodcock. And then let's head on over here. Look at the size of these old pine trees. Can you imagine? They were probably just little babies when they grew here. So let's see what we have. There's another one, interesting shape. I'm not gonna be able to read it. Got those ears, that's what I call them. The ears. I guess they're called the shoulders. I don't know. They're called shoulders. There we go, here's some other veterans. Leon Lenwood Todd, private in the U.S. Army. World War I. And Henrietta Gertrude Todd. Not sure if that's his wife. And they just don't give a lot of information. And that's what I like about old stones, is they tell the story of the person. Something smelling lovely and flowery. Oh, there's the remnants of something. Hannah, perhaps. Oh, and that's another reason to come and see these old cemeteries and take pictures and check things out. There's a face emerging. Another Revolutionary War veteran. We're coming up on the old 250. It's good to see our Revolutionary War soldiers are being decorated and honored, because my goodness, we wouldn't be here without them. A lot of history here. Keep getting a whiff of wild roses. Anyway, well, this is an interesting fix. So this stone is concreted around and being protected, kind of. Well, not like his neighbor who's fallen down. And another one. And another one. I don't know, maybe this one's supposed to be down. It's quite the tableau for sure. All right, well, Thomas Phelps died September 7th, 1766. And he was 71 years, 1 month, and 14 days. Now that's your classic, the morning style. The willow. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, once they're down, then they really start to deteriorate. Let's face it, it's a little, we get a lot of weather around here. We get all kinds of weather, hot weather, cold weather, snow, rain, sleet, tornadoes, you name it, we get it. All right. Here lies deposited. Oh, Isaac something, Esquire, Sullen, died April 3rd, 1789. He's 50 years old. Go take a look at that face. And it's got a little grape motif around it. And the tulips, some grapes. Beautiful. Oh my. What is the trouble? Are you upset with me? I'm not going to bother your babies. I don't know. So this cemetery is certainly an interesting mix of some interesting old primitive, Jesus, I can't talk, primitive stones, and also, and right up to modern in the back, it looks like newish. I mean, burials. We'll take a look back there. Here's another one of these. Hopefully the light is better on this guy. This one's a profile. And this is Joseph Deming. Died December 1783. 76 years old. And then this guy's fallen over. Soon to be lost. Unless someone comes and stands her upright. Anyway, I won't beat that horse to death. Anyway, that's why I always say it's important to come out and check these things out, because, soon enough, the earth takes her back. And that's that. It makes them hard to read, hard to know who's here. I'm sure many have already been lost to time and weather. But this is a well-kept cemetery. I give them that. Minerva and William Potter. Some interesting shapes back here. Colonel Reuben Eldridge died in 1836. And then there's Samantha Tyler, his wife. And some other interesting stones. It's a shape. Looks like something must have been there at some point in time. Looks like a picture. You can see the outline of a picture frame. And the one next to it, Lucy, well, she has the hand pointing up. She's going to heaven. She's the wife of Uriah White, and she died January 29th, 1866. And it says, 41. 41. All right. Good old Eldridge here next door. Must be part of the family plot. Anyway, we're getting back to here's a 1831. And definitely that morning style with the urn and the willows and the large square tableau. And then they eventually turn just rectangular, and then they just get really boring, just turn into nothing. And then there's people that tell me they're not going to have any marker whatsoever. And my answer to that is, well, there are people like me, and if you're watching this, you must kind of be like a people like me who love old cemeteries and love to read who's there and get to know a little bit about that person and honor them, even if you don't know them. I don't know. One of my crazy philosophies, I suppose. All right, here's another one of these interesting primitives. This guy's got the big wig in memory of Mr. Uriah Johnson, who died August the 11th in 1887, 77 years. And being sucked into the ground. But just take a look at that big wig, those big lips. Looks great carving. And it's that same shape that we've seen throughout this cemetery of these older stones. It's a beautiful breezy day. There's another one of these interesting older stones. Oh, I can't read anything on this side of it. Well, perhaps it's a footstone. Let's look on this side. Hard to read. Let's see what's going on with this guy. Same shape, nice and big. Oh, we have a profile in this one. Oh, okay. So this is who died. This is the Dwight stone that some people think Dwight carved, but he actually bought it, I believe, for this person. I think that's how the story goes. Anyway, it's a pretty neat old stone. December 18th. Looks like 1786. And it's very hard to read. And in the shade, which doesn't help. All right, well, this is kind of an interesting collection of stuff. Looks like some footstones. These are with the initials. That would have been your footstone, which Griff and I keep, talking about when exactly did the footstone go out of favor. And a lot of times I think, excuse me, I think they get removed for the ease of mowing, of course, but here's one that got moved, but that's not a footstone. That's Mary. Not sure where Mary belonged. Ooh, that's a name. Zebu, Zebulon, Bibi. And that's not a footstone. That, I don't know what that is. And that's a footstone. Let's see. Nope, nothing on that side. Alrighty. And as we make our way further back, we're going to see some new stuff. A big old solid stone there, and oh, Mr. Moses Young. Not much to be read there. Anyway, let's see what else is over here. Vanderbilt. Now we go from these beautiful old carvings to this very modern. These Vanderbilts. I don't know if they're related to, you know, the Vanderbilts or what. Well, this guy was a captain. William Henry Vanderbilt died in 1981. And Helen, and she died in 1997. She was born in 1918. What a life she must have seen. All the changes. And then Richard, who just passed, 2021, and Helen Warren Cook, who's still with us, apparently. That's awesome. And that's a pretty hefty monument. These I like. This might be what I know. I want a bench. I want people to come and sit and hang out with me. But then I also really want a face carved into my stone. And I've seen some pretty interesting newer carvings. There's a fellow Pumpkin Town Primitive who carves beautiful, beautiful headstones. Anyway, you like to think you've got a long time before you got to think about these things, but you know, it'd be kind of fun to have my spot. Oh, Dorothy Billings Hickey, a legacy of caring. Well, thank you, Dorothy. That's awesome. It's nice to have some information. Another person who's still with us, Daphne. And some more new stones. Ooh, look at this one. Like a chaise lounge. There's nothing written on this side. Let's see what's on the other side. Nice flowers. Huh. Oh, there it is. Neely. Let's fix your flag, Mr. Neely. There we go. The veteran. And really interesting. I mean, it's like a chaise lounge. I could just hang out there. Relax. Mr. Neely. Anyway, this is a beautiful cemetery. It's in a very beautiful part of the world, and today just happens to be absolutely gorgeous. You know, what can I say? It's the wind is blowing. It's a beautiful 65 degrees. The sky is blue. Got some fair weather clouds. We'll probably have some storms later, and that's okay. It just means I don't have to water my garden. So anyway, here's some oldies over here. Let's go see what I can find. And oh, there's some creeping time. I think every cemetery I push through, there's creeping time. I'm not sure. That's to help to keep the smell down. I think the ancient Egyptians used thyme in their embalming process to, you know, keep the smell down. You don't want your mummy smelling. These are interesting shapes. Little flowers up on top. Well, here's a nice one. Again, laying down. Melissa, wife of John Jordan. She died in 1864, age 62 years. But look at that. How beautiful the urn is. The willow. And then this looks like wife of, this is another wife of John P. Jordan. Looks like Olive was her name. Huh. All right, well, John Jordan, where the heck are you? John P. Jordan, you're right here. There he is. It's hard to read. He died in 1859. Had 2 wives. At least he had the good taste to get buried with them. Both of them. Anyway. There's one that looks like a tree trunk. These are neat. There's an ivy growing up, and the last name is Beebe. Well, I have a couple of friends with the last name Beebe. I'm going to have to ask them if they have people in South Williamstown. I almost said it wrong. There's Danielle. Tryphena Proud Beebe. Am I reading that right? That's a wild name. And some more Beebes. There's Henry. And there's Charlie. And there's some more Beebes. Mother, father. Hannah and Henry. Huh. What do you know about that? Anyway, that's it. Sarah Gone Rogue, over and out. Remember, don't knock anything over.
Ooh, and replace your divots.
Yikes.